A great episode, full of action and spectacular effects. Those fun chases for the flame were really amusing to watch. Dozens of experts, including many at the saint level, all fighting over that purple seal. One would grab it and immediately lose it, the next would snatch it away, and it kept cycling like that. Yeah, the whole episode was basically non-stop battles. It's been a long time since we've seen something like this. And finally, the flame essence ended up in Xiao Yan's hands, but Hun Feng got it too. Their battle was just as intriguing. Imagine the combined power of two Xiao Yans, the original and his incarnation. That kind of strength is insane. In the end, Hun Feng took a powerful spiritual blow. His brain basically checked out for a while and asked for a little break. Nevertheless, what impressed me the most was Hun Feng's ability to absorb Do Qi and even Xiao Yan's own flame. That was nothing less than the manifestation of the ability of the heavenly flame ranked number 2 on the ranking. At the end of the episode, Xiao Yan pleased Hun Mi Shang with the Destruction Lotus. It was funny to hear, "You won't get the Purifying Lotus, but here's the Destruction Lotus for you." What happened next we already know from the previous videos. It was the battle between Xiao Chan and the Hall of Souls chief. Then came the appearance of the Hun clan elder named Hun Mo, who was at the peak of 5-star saint. In the end, the Pill Tower ancestor had to intervene. So why did Xiao Yan hand over the purple seal with the flame to him? The flame deliberately allowed itself to be sealed, forcing everyone to fight over it. Xiao Yan realized that it hadn't actually been captured and locked inside the seal, it was just pretending. If the flame essence had remained with Xiao Yan, the purifying lotus flame could have broken free at any moment. And what would it have done to Xiao Yan then? In the trailer, there's an even more exciting moment. The Saint of the Purifying Lotus possesses Xiao Yan, and his white-haired figure looks incredibly cool. But let's go through it step by step. The founder of the Pill Tower didn't bother explaining anything to the others. He simply watched the purple seal. After confirming that there was no reaction from his side, he spoke in a low voice. "Since you don't want to do it yourself, I'll have to force you." After finishing his sentence, he flicked his finger. A streak of black suddenly shot out from his fingertip. Although the black streak looked weak, it created a vacuum in the space wherever it passed. It headed straight toward the pillar of black light. The speed of the black streak was astonishing. In an instant, it was only 1 foot away from the black light pillar. But at that moment, the sealed demonic flame essence suddenly shook violently. An overwhelming wave of flames erupted in all directions, and the black light pillar exploded. A pale cream-colored flame burst out from the pillar of light, taking the form of a man dressed in white robes. The purifying lotus flame looked at the Pill Tower founder with a cold and furious gaze, then roared at him in rage. "Old monster, you've ruined my plans again. You're courting death." So it really did allow itself to be sealed. The hearts of the experts jumped in shock when they saw the man again. The expression of the Hall of Souls chief became even uglier. It was clear as day that it could have easily broken free from his seal at any time, which meant the Pill Tower founder had been telling the truth. All the experts were stunned to see how easily the heavenly flame had escaped the seal and once again appeared in human form. Hun Mi Shang couldn't believe his eyes. The purifying lotus flame had deliberately allowed itself to be sealed just so the experts would start fighting each other. Its scheming was on a completely different level. It is extremely cruel. If it were allowed to reach the central plains, only destruction would be left in its wake. That's exactly why the former owner, the Saint of the Purifying Lotus, chose to seal it when he reached the end of his life. Therefore, the Pill Tower ancestor also could not allow this flame to escape now. In its rage, the Purifying Lotus flame told its story. "I followed my master for thousands of years. I helped him, but he didn't care about my efforts, so he sealed me away. In the end, he himself suffered from my backlash. This is my revenge. Besides, whether I can escape from here is not up to you. Even if you've broken through to 6-star saint, that's still not enough to stop me." The Pill Tower ancestor let out a quiet sigh and looked at old man Hun Mo. His gaze contained a request for help, to fight it together. After all, Hun Mo and the Pill Tower ancestor were the strongest ones present. What did Hun Mo reply? "Old pill monster, if you want to deal with it, you'll have to fight it alone." The Hun clan doesn't care at all about the destruction of the Central Plains. It will be much easier for us to capture it once it breaks out of this space. Old Hun Mo was cunning. He simply planned to wait and watch while the Pill Tower founder and the Purifying Lotus Flame fought, then take advantage of the situation. The young shepherd wasn't surprised. Xiao Yan cupped his hands and asked if he could help in any way. Unfortunately, the Purifying Lotus Flame is incredibly powerful. None of you can help. The Pill Tower founder shook his head. He jumped off the back of the bull and appeared directly opposite the flame. In this space, the Purifying Lotus Flame had been sealed by its master for thousands of years. A saint's seal like this wasn't easy to break. But the flame had used the worldly wave to create a tear in space and partially open a passage. Nevertheless, the seal would repair itself as soon as the worldly wave disappeared. The Pill Tower ancestor's goal was simple: to stall the flame so it couldn't escape from here. And then a new, much more terrifying battle between 6 star saints began. This was on a completely different level. The Purifying Lotus Flame manifested a giant. It looked down at the ants from above, then swung its hand and struck toward the Pill Tower founder. All the experts instantly turned pale the moment they felt the power of that strike. Whether it was Zi Yen or Gu Nanhai, any of them would have been turned to dust by such a blow. The Pill Tower founder remained floating in the air, watching the approaching fist strike. He opened his mouth and spat out golden light. The light transformed into a massive dome that covered the entire sky. Heavenly Pill Fusion. The young shepherd raised a finger, from which a drop of blood essence flowed out. The giant's chest began to melt. Old Hun Mo watched the battle with a serious expression. The abilities of the Pill Tower ancestor are becoming more and more terrifying. He can even melt demonic flame. The Purifying Lotus Flame became furious. Every substance in this world has a weakness or a mortal enemy. The true form of the Pill Tower founder was a medicinal pill. Under normal circumstances, he should fear such powerful flames, but the stronger the young man became, the more he mutated. This mutation included effects that suppressed his weakness to fire. And it was precisely this suppression that was putting enormous pressure on the Purifying Lotus Flame. Any living being will be purified by me. Your true form is a pill. I want to see what you turn into when I purify you. The Purifying Lotus Flame enveloped the entire space. Ancient heavenly purification array appeared. A fiery array appeared in the sky. Endless magma began to churn. Soon, a massive formation started forming on its surface. The expressions of both the Pill Tower founder and Old Hun Mo changed drastically the moment they saw the two formations, one above the other. No one had expected this. It was the exact same sealing formation that the Saint of the Purifying Lotus had set up here. Over the past thousands of years, the flame had managed to study it and even replicate it. Who could possibly restrain it inside this space now? This is quite troublesome. The experts held their breath as they looked at the enormous formations. These formations were many times more powerful than the one used by the Hall of Souls chief. Zi Yen and the other experts felt that if they released even a tiny bit of energy, they would die here. While everyone was in shock, Xiao Yan placed his palm on his forehead. That mysterious cluster of light suddenly began to tremble violently, as if something was about to awaken. Old Hun Mo and all the experts decided to run. They stared at the spatial tunnel. That was the way to reach the Central Plains. Hurry, run! Old Hun Mo shouted. He was the first to dash toward the spatial tunnel. Hun Mi Shang gritted his teeth and followed him. Even an expert at Old Hun Mo's level was running with all his might, which meant this array was truly terrifyingly dangerous. The elders of the other ancient clans did the same. No matter how attractive the Purifying Lotus Flame was, they first needed to stay alive. Gu Suner and their group watched as people fled. They turned toward Xiao Yan, who had faint traces of pain on his face. Xiao Yan, what's wrong? Gu Suner shouted. We need to leave too. Xiao Yan gritted his teeth. His mind was burning, causing him terrible headaches. He could sense an incredible destructive power. Once it broke out, everything living would turn to dust. Haha, it's too late. I will purify all of you and turn you into my slaves. Just as Xiao Yan was about to do something, The purifying lotus flame pressed a finger against the space. A massive pillar of magma erupted from under the array and struck the spatial tunnel, tearing it to pieces. At the moment the tunnel was destroyed, Old Hun Mo froze right in front of it. He didn't make it in time, nor did the others. The purifying lotus flame had no intention of letting them go. "What do we do now?" the Hall of Souls chief asked with a frown. "How should I know? This space was built by the saint of the purifying lotus. It was said that in his era, he was the closest to having the power of a god. No one on the continent can break in here unless they go through that spatial tunnel. It won't be that easy to kill us." Old Hun Mo laughed coldly. He looked toward the Pill Tower founder. "Why don't we join forces? Right now the demonic flame is controlling the array, and even you won't be able to handle it alone. The ancient heavenly purification formation is divided into heaven and earth. I'll take the heavenly part, and I'll leave the earth part to you," the ancestor replied. There was no time to argue. "All right. Xiao Chen, little ancient void dragon, Gunan Hai. All of you attack with me and help destroy the heavenly array," the Pill Tower founder shouted. Yes. There was no time for talk. The tunnel was destroyed. There was no way out. If they didn't fight, they would all become slaves of the flame. Old Hun Mo also called upon some 4-star saint-level experts to help him. Everyone's lives were at stake. The lotus flame showed its true power. It turned out that it could control the very formation that the saint of the purifying lotus had set up. Just imagine this power, the power of a saint who was one step away from Do Di. Naturally, everyone rushed to escape. Xiao Yan told Gu Suner and the others to immediately leave the flame space. However, the flame destroyed the spatial passage, and no one could leave. They tried to fight back. The 6-star Pill Tower ancestor and the Hall of Souls chief worked together because everyone's lives were on the line. The purifying lotus flame went berserk. Purification! Terrifying attacks headed toward Xiao Yan's group and the Hall of Souls chief's group. From the sky, the purifying lotus flame watched as the flame spread hundreds of kilometers from the point of impact. It laughed loudly. Now no one could stop it. Saint of the purifying lotus, did you really think you could destroy me like this? I am a divine creation, protected by the world itself. The purifying lotus flame had gone mad. After thousands of years of imprisonment, it would finally escape. However, its laughter suddenly stopped. They're still alive? How? The pale cream-colored flame in the sky paled even more when it saw a small light barrier. Xiao Yan was standing right in its center. The Pill Tower founder, the Hall of Souls experts, and the others had not suffered any damage or serious injuries. The light barrier had managed to block an attack from a 6-star saint. Something strange had happened to Xiao Yan. While everyone else was confused, Gu Suner turned toward Xiao Yan, who seemed to have lost consciousness. However, a faint light was coming from his body, forming an illusory figure that resembled the flame itself. That's not the purifying lotus flame. That's the saint of the purifying lotus. The Pill Tower founder stared at Xiao Yan with shocked eyes. Why would this almighty expert, who was rumored to have died several thousand years ago, suddenly appear over Xiao Yan and possess his body? Xiao Yan, whose eyes had been closed, suddenly trembled. In the next moment, he opened his eyes, but his pupils had changed to a pale cream color. He looked over everyone present. Whoever he looked at felt an overwhelming urge to bow before him. The saint of the purifying lotus was known as the one who had come closest to the level of a god. Who would have thought that he would appear again, and that he would possess Xiao Yan's body? Of course, this was connected to the ancient map that Xiao Yan had found and collected all the fragments of. It linked Xiao Yan with the saint of the purifying lotus. Since he intervened and saved everyone, it means his goal is related to the purifying lotus flame, said the Pill Tower founder. Xiao Yan, whose body was now controlled by the saint of the purifying lotus, waved his sleeve and the barrier around them disappeared. His eyes met the eyes of the flame. It was just as shocked as all the experts. Saint Master, how is this possible? Why are you still alive? But the saint replied to the flame. It seems that even after all this time in confinement, you still haven't been able to calm your rage. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and see you later.